yes, the year of Luigi. It was this celebration thingy made for Luigi that lasted like 1 year. But you know why you're all here. It's not for a history lesson, is it? So let's just cut to the chase. One of the games released with the year of Luigi was Mario & Luigi Dream Team. You can tell it was released with the year of Luigi because Luigi's important. Anyway, we're doing a challenge run since there's like one video about a challenge run there. So, you would think because there's only one video, the game must be easy, right? Absolutely not. Ugh. So, let's see how many dodges it will take to beat Mario & Luigi Dream Team. So first of all, what counts as a dodge? Well, in my completely original definition, a dodge is pressing anything during an enemy's turn or doing anything on the touchscreen in a giant battle to avoid damage. Now, yeah, so this rule set from Shy Guy Mask? Maybe. Is this good? Maybe. Will work for now because I'm lazy. Yes. In addition to the dodge counter, I've also included an easy mode counter to show how much times I used the easy mode of the game. If you don't know, easy mode doubles your attack and defense and makes bosses easier. And that, of course, defies the whole purpose of a challenge run, so I'm going to be avoiding using that for the time being. That said, let's get into the challenge. The game begins with the tutorial Antasma battle, which is, of course, very easy, unless you, of course, can have a bit of a brain fart and forget that this is a dodgeless challenge. Happened to me once. Well, that happened. After the Antasma fight, then we go grab some coins at the quiz and then fight our first enemy. You wanna know how that went? Well, does ending the enemy encounter with 15 HP sound good to you? And because I didn't have any mushrooms, I ended up dying to the second enemy. One being saved thanks to lucky hits. See, these are the kind of hits that require RNG, random numbers, in order to happen. Basically, the game needs to, decide to give you that hit and make you deal more damage. We're gonna be dealing with more of those later on. Not as much as this one, though. And what do you know, there's not that much interesting stuff to do, so might as well just fast forward to these events. We grab some more coins, we meet up with Starlo, we go to the Pillow Castle, this happens, and then we go into the cave, we grab more coins, battle most of the enemies, a very good pattern that falters later on. Yeesh. And then we meet up with Smortergeist. Now, Smortergeist is a bit of a tricky foe, surprisingly our first boss. I say this because in order to actually extinguish his flames and actually jump on him without taking damage, you need to dodge. Unless, you jump on his head while it's burning. Because that also extinguishes it. So, yeah, be prepared to take some damage. Although, at the beginning of the fight, Starlo for some reason causes wind to blow or something, and that extinguishes it. Funny how that happens, but oh well. After that, then we get Dreambird's pillow. We go into the dream world first, and buy a picnic booth from the shop. I want to meet up Dream Luigi and stuff. That happened too. Oh, and please make sure to save often. I had this thing happen many times where I died the first attack, and since, when you restart battle, you go right back to the first attack without any stats changing, you die a bunch of times until you go back to your previous save point. And you better hope you saved, because otherwise, yeesh, a lot of time wasted. Anyway, on to the Dreamy Mario fight itself. It's easy unless you, forget where Dreamy Mario is. The real one, that is. Only if you, again, save and heal before you fight him. Otherwise, time's a wasting, I guess. After that fight, Antasma just decides that he won the fight and just takes Peach all the way down to Dream's Deep. Yeah. Then after that, we borrow a bunch of Boachiwas or whatever. Going to the Dream World a bunch of times. Same as usual. Here in Mushrise Park, we get hammers and Bros attacks, which will be very useful. Oh, and also I did this, I guess. Oh no, the glitchless run is over. Well, anyways, after we do a bunch of stuff in Mushrise Park, we fight this boss, Grobot. which is rather easy. Sound like a British person, but just make sure to refill on bros points and HP. Otherwise, I mean, it ain't gonna be too easy, I guess. Pretty easy for me, I guess. I'm not judging by your difficulty anyway. The next boss fight, though, Bowser and Antasma. Yeesh. Did I mention that all of Bowser's boss fights here are hard? Or at least harder compared to all the other bosses in that specific area, I guess. So, let's go into this fight. The first one we're going to be covering in detail. So, the best attack in this fight is the punch attack. It does this much damage, it's fast, it can get you through pretty quick. The one that's like, it's fine if it happens, but probably don't want to happen in comparison to the punch is the spike ball attack, where he goes to the background and chases you. This is a common pattern throughout the game, as shown by Grobot earlier, but I want to cover it with Bowser and Antasma. A lot of battles include this one thing where the enemy goes to the background and you have to dodge a few obstacles. The fortunate thing about this one is that, and all the rest, by the way, is that when you get hit once, you're out of the attack. With both brothers, by the way. If you get hit with one brother, he's out of the attack again. You know what I mean? You still take damage, though, so, yeah. The worst attack here, by the way, is the fire. Ugh. It deals multiple bits of damage. It hits hard. Not only that, but it summons these Antasma bats. They can also do their own attack, but as long as you deal with them early you're on, then they won't be able to do that attack. But that fire, oosh. When that gets out, you better hope you have a great HP amount, because otherwise you're going down. And to make things worse, he can chain attacks together. I'm not exactly sure how these bosses can chain attacks together, like do one attack and then do another attack without you getting your turn at all. Maybe that's something to do with the fact that you get hit by the attack. I don't know. Anyways, be sure to level up during this phase. I have to level up a bunch before facing him for like the third time or something. I don't know. Funny enough, this was actually the boss that gave me trouble on my second playthrough. I think my first playthrough too. My second playthrough I was trying to use hard mode, which was the mode that limits you to 10 items and forces you to the title screen once you're in the game over, only all the attacks do more damage. And I tried that, but I got stuck on this boss fight, and then eventually came up with the idea for the challenge you're watching this video right now about. So I deleted my file. And I don't really feel like deleting my dodgeless file in order to try hard mode one. Yeah. So on to Dozing Sands, where we get our badges that we're going to be using for most of the run. The defense badge, more specifically. If you put that with this other badge, you get a shield around you for 3 turns if you use it. You can probably tell this is going to be very useful. Oh, and before you comment, no, I forgot about it. Wait, no, you know what I mean. I forgot about this before facing Bowser and Antasma. One thing I also forgot to do was save. So I got a game over, got to one of those loop things, returned up the title screen, only to find out I haven't even saved after I beaten Bowser and Antasma. So I had to do that boss fight again. Didn't take me too long though. Yeah. Although if this happened way earlier, then I probably could have lost a bunch of progress. Yeesh. Make sure to save, you guys. Make sure to save. Around Dozing Sands, you want to get into encounters with flounder fledges. Fledges? As opposed to these sand dunes. I pronounced their name correctly. Because the sand dunes can swallow a brother up and, you can't really run. You have to, try and free the brother, and then eventually you die, that other brother dies, and then the other brother that was outside the sand dune also dies, and then you game over. And then you have to run, flee, whatever. Yeah, that happens. Again, more saving and healing issues because I apparently can't take a hint. Ah, yeah, Stork Screw. I had a little bit of trouble with him, leveled up, and then, yeah. Just make sure to use the shock bomb when he's burned to the ground. I guess I would call this boss fight a bit of a loop if you're doing a no dodgeless challenge, because it goes like this. Eventually you'll start using this attack where he like chases his brother into the background. It's not like the other move, by the way. He then like assaults that brother while he also calls some minions in order to do damage to the brother in the foreground too. It goes like this basically. One brother gets KO'd during this move. You heal him. He does it again. You heal him. Eventually, the bro in the foreground also gets KO'd, along with the brother in the background, and then you lose. I mean, it's not too complex, but it is a loop. Kinda. After that, we find out that the Dreamstone's been stolen, because of course, Bowser and Antasma over there got to it first. So we go inside the Dream Point, we do the usual stuff, we meet this Dreamstone thingy, try and convince him to tell us stuff. The guy tells us that it's in Shut Upville, or whatever, and since a place like that does not exist, we have to bop his head to get him to come to his senses, I guess. Except he's already at his senses and uses them to do this. Yeah. So now we go into our first giant battle. Now, giant battles like this are trouble for a dodgeless challenge. Well, a minimum dodgeless challenge to be exact, but I mean, same difference, am I right? Fights like these would cost like 1 or 2 dodges at least, but thankfully this one does not. And that's mostly probably because of this one thing. See, we get a mandatory hit of damage, you cannot avoid the stack even if you tried. And then we learn about the Rhythm Mushroom. Here's the weird part though. If you restart this tutorial, you can heal again, and your health will increase. Of course your health will increase. But then you can do it again, and then your health from the previous tutorial will carry on to your next tutorial. If you're confused, I mean that like, alright, you have this one tutorial, you heal, you restart the tutorial, your health stays the same. Now you see what I mean, right? You can refill up all the way to full health. Little tongue twister there. Just remember to try and aim for the right locations and use the right attacks at the right time. If you do that, this boss fight will become very, very easy, which will not be the exact same as all the other giant boss battles, so get used to this while you can. Now we get over to Wake Part, where the infamous Beef Off takes place. Well, it takes place in the Dream World, but still Wake Part. First off, Heavy Zest. I used a stack, and ball for that one. I used a guide. Oh yeah, to mention these all have different gimmicks, this one involves you having to deal with him in 3 turns. After those 3 turns, he heals. So, yeah, just play around until you get it, I guess. Or just look it up. Beef Cloud over here is, well, he definitely gave me a lot of trouble when I was a kid. Unfortunately for him, he's rather easy if you know how to deal with him. Just jump and then use a stack occasionally. I used the guy for that one too. Sour Fist's gimmick is basically just get all the attacks of excellence, otherwise you don't even do any damage. Yeah, just get all the excellence. Thunder Sass, on the other hand, has, you kidding me? It had to be this one. It couldn't have been any other gimmick. Fine. You have to use 6 dodges in order to beat this boss. Just time those dodges correctly and you'll get out free with 6 dodges. So not very free, but yeah. Big Massive, on the other hand, is, well, he's not easy, but ain't hard either. I guess his main quote-unquote gimmick is that if you defeat a lot of Hoorahs, then he gets angry, and the more Hoorahs you defeat, the more angry he becomes. Just, well, for this one, you just use the defense badge and, keep attacking the Hoorahs, and you'll, like, reduce their numbers before the badge wears off. I almost... After that, we finally get to Mount Pajamaja, and we can finally get the Dreamstone. Unfortunately for us, this is the bit where enemies become a little bit too hard to consistently battle. And by that, I mean, sometimes you don't want to get into a battle, but then again, you have to farm the EXP, meaning you have to at some point. So, yeah, you're gonna have to choose. At the very, very, very summit is Mammoth Shika. Is that how you say it? Well, he's harder than I thought he would be. I remember him being kind of easy, but I guess not. After leveling up a bunch, I managed to beat him. What you have to do here is use the red shell attack for multiple enemies. Then when his bald head becomes bare, use the drop chopper. And there you go, you just beat, Mamoshka. Probably a Russian name or something, I don't know. I could be wrong. Oh wait, oh look! You finally get the dream! Yeah. Of course, it isn't all that simple, you know. You have to retreat into the dream world in order to escape these dream beats. And this is a section that, what brings back some memories. I vividly remember me being sick while I was going through this, okay? That's all I'm gonna say for that part, since I don't want to get too personal. Yeah. Another little thing about this section is that you have a giant boss at the end. Remember when I said earlier that those bosses aren't going to be as easy as Torkscrew? Well, now you see. This fight is impossible without using one dodge. So I use that one dodge on this one attack, this fire orb attack, when he gets to half health. Only using this one. I only use it in this one because Mario gets flung off if you get hit by one of the fire orbs, meaning you can't use Rhythm Mushroom or any other giant rose attacks. Not sure what they're called, but yeah. After Mount Pajamaja, we go over to Driftwood Shore, where you have to hide Peach in the dream world. In order to do that, we have to suffer through bad jokes, pretend to be a group of seahorses, and force to compliment someone's beauty products. Like, no offense to anyone here, but like, and what do we get for all that? A fight with the Elite Trio. And this is pretty difficult, okay? The main gimmick of this fight is that you have to knock out all 3 members at the same time. If you knock down 2 of them and even 1 remains, yeah, that other one will just heal the other 2 back up to 1 health. Oh, and that wasn't enough. Paraplonk over here, yeah, that's the paratrooper's name, by the way. Thank you to the Mario Wiki for that. He likes to heal his party members. Also, Sergeant Guy over here, yeah, that's the Shy Guy's name, likes to do this attack where he turns all the Goombas on the battlefield into Shy Guys. Yep, it's as deadly as you think it might be. Yeah. So I was at a bit of a loss. I spent all day leveling up one day, still gonna beat him, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have a time limit to go through. Yeah, did you know I was gonna make this video and publish it the exact day Mario and Luigi Dream Team turned 10 years old? Yeah. You can see how that changed. Anyway, since I was underneath like a deadline kind of thing, I just decided to use easy mode for this battle. Like I told you earlier, I count this toward my record too. And now you can see why I decided not to use easy mode. Yeah. Maybe a bit too easy. Just use stack on all the enemies here, and then use ball to take them all out. If you're playing on normal mode, well then I don't really have much of a strategy for you besides use more stacks and attack all of them, and then once they're all been defeated at least once, roll them out with the ball. Yeah. So after that fiasco, we go all the way down to Pillow Castle, where we go down to Dreams Deep again. And we have these dark blocks that take forever to attack. Yeah. And then we find out the ultimate side quest. Well, it's not really a side quest, it's more like a main quest, but meh. And our first thing we're gonna do for it is Battle Grobot X, which is strange since most battle modes in these kind of games are optional. But nope, here you gotta battle one of them. Just use the strongest bros attacks and you're fine. Now, remember that one time I used easy mode back then? Just like, maybe a few seconds ago at this point? Well, in order to make up for that one, I battled Bowser and Antasma X, and along the way got the Guard Shell DX, which is essentially the badge, but even better, since it protects one of the brothers as soon as the battle begins or right when they're revived. This, as you can tell, will become very useful in the future. Next, we go to Mount Pajamaja for the Pajamaja rock frame. Man, that took way longer than I thought it would when it comes to takes. Just don't take the right path, though. If you fall off, you have to do the whole first part again. Also, one random thing about the Pajamaja rock frame. How the heck did a rock frame get stuck in a nightmare chunk? Like, how is that possible? And second of all, how on earth does the rock frame in the dream world correspond with the rock frame in the real world? I mean, for all we know, it's like a piece of, well, rock. In fact, the chunk itself doesn't even have anything in it. It just has this thing, which doesn't correspond that well with the frame. And I don't think they're going to explain this anytime soon. We also got the ball hop, which means we can do the rest of the stuff. Time some rapid fire stuff. In Motionless Park, battle viruses and play Fly Guys are. Viruses are easy to grind on, Fly Guys aren't. I think I got EXP on the items on the way to Joker's cheats. Fly Guys aren't too hard. Just use the usual stuff for Dozing Sands. Sheesh, that was my 4th take. Next off to Wakeport, where we find Popple again. Long time no see. Oh, and a Wiggler. Just use the normal strategies here. Just attack Popple before you can attack Wiggler, and you'll be fine. Earthquake, on the other hand, not so fine. This boss is similar to the Tower of Yik, I think that's how you say it, from Bowser's Inside Story. And so, I went to this video right here by Shy Guy Mask, aka the main inspiration for this challenge, to get some help on the different dodging rules, I guess. So these hits, they're not dodges. Don't at me in the comments, okay? Unfortunately, you still need to dodge. More specifically at this hammer attack, which will knock you out unless you dodge it. Or if you made the mistake of jumping here, well, it knocks you into the ocean and, well, you can't get out without dodging, so yeah. There's no way around it, really. Alright, we're almost done with the game. Next is Somnom Woods, where bee hosses, again with the unpronounceable names. They're good enemies to grind for EXP, okay? I also got every single pillow here for a reason I'm not going to say right now, because I want to wait till later to keep you on the edge of your seat. Next we go over to here where Pillodium, I think it's pronounced, is waiting for us. It took a couple of tries, but each attempt is long. Just check out the wings first, and then try the body. Also, you may be wondering what I'm doing here. Despite the fact there's a time limit on the top right of the screen. Well, that defense badge we picked up earlier came in handy. You can just wait out this timer, and then just use a mushroom at the end. He'll blow himself up and you won't take a single hit of damage. Technically, it's not against the rules. Next, we use the ultra bed to dive into Dreamy Somnom Woods, and up the stream encounter the Zeekeeper. Boy. This boss fight has so many dodges that I might as well just list off my strategy for this one, okay? So for this first attack, which by the way he does right out of the gate, you need to just stay idle. Then dodge, then dodge. Then when you get your chance to attack, you use jump, then a mushroom. Then stay idle, dodge, 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 jump, mushroom, idle, idle, dodge, 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 jump, mushroom, idle, dodge, although I did this at the last minute, dodge, 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 jump, and then finish him off. The visuals will probably explain everything I couldn't explain, okay? Finally, we're at Neo Bowser Castle, and a few minutes later we encounter Kamek. The first fight out of 3! Thankfully, this first boss fight is pretty easy. Just remember who's the real one, and then attack the real one. The second fight, on the other hand, he summons Dry Bones. They're very annoying, by the way, since he stays in the background while they attack. And you have to take them all out in order to actually attack Kamek. Oh, and don't you even try to use that top ball on him. He'll just go back into the background and use those Dry Bones on you to do stuff. The third fight, on the other hand, oh man. So he splits into 4 clones, but instead now he does this. So now you have to defeat all 4 in order to proceed. Sheesh. This white one can heal all the other clones. The green one could raise stats. They can also do this attack and this attack, which do a bunch of damage. And yeah, that's mostly the gist of it, but man, is it annoying, difficult, and annoyingly difficult. So, of course, I got some levels and bought gear until I finally was able to hurt one of them and defeat one of them. Then eventually I was able to defeat 2 and eventually defeat them all. Prepare yourself for this one, by the way. It will take a lot of time to defeat. But if you thought he was hard, you haven't seen nothing yet. After a couple rooms with no boss fights, thank you, then you go over to this section here, where you do the exact same thing you did with Big Massive. Invade Bowser's dreams. I definitely remember this part scaring me when I was a kid, especially these floating Bowser heads, which kind of jump scare you, kind of. At the end, this happens. Only Bowser goes huge and you have to battle him. Remember when I said that all Bowser fights are hard? This is the second one, and boy is it hard. Okay. First, do a hammer chop. Then dodge all 3 times. Yes. The push. When to go. And this thing. Next, perform a hammer uppercut. Then stay idle. Then when it's your turn, jump. Then dodge twice. Stay idle. Block him from doing this. And healing. Which I guess counts as a dodge. Baby. Then dodge 2 times. Then we're going to go on to phase 2. You dodge. Use a mushroom. Stay idle. Jump. Dodge. Stop him from healing. Dodge twice. Dodge again twice. And on to phase 3. Which is this little phase. Thank you, Brett. The Tokyo 3DS. You're forced to dodge here, otherwise you're pretty much forced to die. So, there's no other choice, really. And then we're done. Never mind, we're not done. You have to dodge again here. And then execute the finishing star attack. Or star driver, as it's called here. If you fail this one, by the way, you'll immediately do another attack, which is pretty hard to execute. The first time I got here, I lost this attack and I was ticked. Until I found out that this game saved a checkpoint for me. Sheesh. So I did that phase again, then I executed the star driver correctly, and bada bing bada boom. After that, we finally get a break from the hard boss battles. But don't think we got a break from boss battles, we have one here, with Antasma. And well, this one fight proves that it's the Bowser side that's making all these boss fights hard, not the Antasma side. Because this boss fight is more annoying than hard. What makes him annoying, you ask? Well, if you don't have that shield thing, if you get attacked by one of these bats here, there's a chance, I'm not even sure what chance it even is, but there's a chance that Mario will fall asleep in a dream, which is as bad as it sounds. You'll be forced in this section where you have to dodge and try and get into the portal. More specifically, the rainbow portal. If you enter the dark portal, then this happens. If you enter the rainbow portal, then this happens, and you wake up. I'm not even sure what the odds are for this even happening. It's probably pretty common, but I'm not even sure it's like required or something like that, or if it's actually random and there's a chance you could actually make it out of the attack without falling asleep. So potentially this could go to 0 dodges. But this is the amount I got, so I'm gonna add that to the total instead. And now I can reveal why I've been rescuing these pillows. It's to unlock this attack, the Z-Egg, which is very, very powerful. Okay, not that powerful, but still. After that, we make it to the very, very top of Neo Bowser Castle, where Bowser does something that, to be honest, he probably should have done in the beginning. Just wish them away. Like, you have the Dreamstone right there. You just, never mind. It wouldn't be fun otherwise. Anyway, also this happens. And this happens. And this happens. Now, it's time for the final boss of this entire challenge. Dreamy Bowser. And let me just tell you, this fight is hard even if you do dodge. So imagine how hard it is without dodging. Oh boy. I tried many times, but like usual, they always end up with me losing. Keeps healing, does this, does that. Eventually I turned to game facts, some other stuff, and eventually I found out that if you mix the Miracle and Gold badges, you get a Time Stop badge. So yes, this is the one and only time in this challenge we're going to be using a badge that's not defense. And well, it freezes time and his defense. Sorry about the list, but anyway. So you could just do bros attacks on him all day long and you won't be able to do a thing about it. And with that, this challenge comes to a close. Or does it? You see, later on, I was like, wait a minute. We had this entire challenge. It's called a challenge for a reason. But I defeated the final boss with just a few moves in one try. That seems unfair, doesn't it? So, yeah. Now I'm going to try and beat him without time stop. And along the way, I turned this fight into a science, almost. So, here's how you defeat this guy. First off, Dreamy Bowser has a total of 2,417 health. And the second highest stats of any Mario and Luigi boss ever. At least so far. The other thing you need to worry about is his right arm, which can block your jump attacks. That has 464 health. And I recommend you deal with that one before you really waste your bros points, because La Cabeza, as it's called in Spanish, is very vulnerable to jump attacks. He has 5 main attacks here. Hammer, which will choose a brother in order to attack, and does like one attack, if you know what I mean. Fire, where he does this, and multiple sources of damage. This giant attack, which is another one of those background running attacks, which is good. Airship, where he summons this airship. That airship, by the way, goes in the background after the attack, and constantly attacks you as the turns go on. So, hope he doesn't do this attack, but the one you really have to hope he doesn't do is the summon attack, where he summons a bunch of minions, goes in the background, and heals. Oh boy. Multiple sources of attack. Multiple enemies to defeat before he comes back into the background. And don't even try using a top ball. Sure, you're going to the foreground again, but like, you can't move anyway, so you can't attack more using this method, so what's the point? I guess I should explain that when I mean sources of damage, I mean like the amount of damage required for that shield to break. So like this attack does this amount of damage, but it's only one source of damage, so it'll get blocked by the shield unless it's one hit away from breaking. However, this attack, which does that much damage per flame, it's, well, per flame, meaning it's multiple sources of attack. So, you can, hopefully you understand what I mean. I guess I should also mention that you can use his left arm to grab one of the brothers. Now he can do multiple things. He can either use summon or giant, in which case he'll just, let go of that brother. Use another attack, which is not very good. Do nothing, which is useless. Or throw him, and you have to mash the button in order to catch him again. I don't really consider this a dodge, but yeah. Now, when it comes to damage values, and yes, I tested the damage values because, again, I basically turned this fight into a science. Almost. The right arm For the right arm, the egg does the most damage. But for the body, it seems like the sling does more. Although I use the star, and that one does more damage consistently, so just use the star. Unfortunately, the star will get blocked, so the best you can do without getting blocked is jet board dash. The strategy I used for my final attempts with these fights was use the egg, which will damage the arm and the body, then jump on Dreamy Bowser himself, then use the cannon, then jump. If you do that and not one of the brothers is KO'd, or he grabs one of them and does nothing, or anything like that, then he's going to use the summon attack, and afterwards, well, it's an RNG's in your hands. So, after I got Rainbow Rank, after I got all this gear, and after I climbed this tower again, because you have to climb this tower over and over again if you go back for more items or go back for another try, I went ahead and tried this method. I would keep doing this boss fight until I win. Then I reset the game, record it, and that'll be the end of it all. This kind of saves iPhone space, since I don't have to record for hours and hours and hours, just thinking, oh, one of these opportunities is going to be the right one, oh, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how it happened. I just kept out this boss fight over and over again, then when I won, I reset. And then, on May 12th, at 7 p.m., about that time, I beat him. On camera, and for good. And you could not tell how happy I was, okay? Or maybe you could, and never mind. So that's the end of the game! Oh wait, there's one more thing afterwards. I guess I have to cover that too. After being Dreamy Bowser, the entire castle starts collapsing, and you have to go back down the tower while avoiding these bombs. After you blow those bombs, the entire castle collapses and the Zeekeeper rescues the brothers. Oh, and her and him and her and yeah. And then they make it back to Pillow Castle where they gather the fragments of the Dreamstone. Oh, by the way, did you know that the Dreamstone got broken? That happened. And then the Zeekeeper turns those fragments into a Dream Coin. Then he goes about this whole thing about how people shouldn't land the Dreamstone and yada yada. And then he breaks the coin and coins rain down on everyone else. His reaction just sells it. And then the crew enjoy their nice vacation. You know, before they get back to the Mushroom Kingdom and find out that not dodging may have been a bit of a bad idea. So, how many dodges does it take to beat Mario & Luigi Dream Team? Well, this amount. I have yet to carry it, so you're gonna have to check the screen. Anyway, this challenge is extremely difficult and requires some planning in the game. Not necessarily in real life, although I think you should prepare for the entire challenge to take a year. Not a year straight playing, of course, but still a year. Only if you're wondering, these are the stats for my playthrough. Let me go ahead and read these for those who can't really see that well. 58 hours. Mario's final level is 45. Luigi's final level is 45. An excellent rate of 80%. A block recovery rate, whatever that is, of 81%. I defeated 4,872 enemies. Escaped 91 times. Got KO'd 71 times. Got damaged 3,885 times. And ate 299 mushrooms. Yep. Anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed my most ambitious video yet. If you like this, then, well, I don't really have that much on the channel currently that's like this. This is the first challenge video I ever made, but I guess this video's close enough, I guess. You probably already know what to do if you like the video, and if you like my channel in general. Alright, have a good day. Oh, and happy 7th anniversary, I guess.